What's up, everybody? My name is Godzi, and welcome back to some more Umineko When They Cry questions arc. Last episode, we continued on with Chapter 3, and the people here, these ones, they eventually did, learn about the deaths of Rudolph, Kyrie, and Hideyoshi. So sad, too bad. So, as far as we know, these two are probably gonna die next, so, God damn it, can't I just survive once? This is bullshit. Technically, none of us have survived. Yes, he is right. How am I talking? I'm dead. Whatever. Let's get back into this. Again, I have no theories. Actually, no, that's a lie. I just remembered something. So, I'm pretty sure that from what we can tell, the quote-unquote first Twilight culprit, as I've been calling them, is not one of the 7, because they were all in the dining hall the entire time, where these 6 were being killed. Meaning it has to be someone on the outside, like Jessica, or Maria, or Kumasawa, or Shannon. Or a guy, it could be any of these guys too. Genji, Kinzo, could be any of them. Because as far as, well, the stakes. Either way, I'm pretty sure Nanjo was working alongside this culprit. He's working alongside the first Twilight culprit, or the first culprit, we'll say. There's, I guess, yeah. The first culprit, the epitaph culprit. The culprit who's been following everything by the epitaph. And I somehow completely doubt, I've mentioned this before, Nanjo could not have killed people like that, hell, even Shannon, probably, by himself, and especially not Kinzo's near dead anyways, and Kumasawa would die if you fucking blew on her. Either way, my point is, Nanjo is working in favor of the first culprit. Thing is, that could be anybody. That could be literally anybody. Thing is, though, we still know that there's at least a female involved. As, how else would Maria get the letter? Her darga blurber. Thing is, Jessica is the character I'm most suspicious about. But, due to the fact that Nanjo is the one putting stakes in place in the first culprit's place, at least I'm pretty sure it'd be him, unless this entire time Eva's been the first Twilight culprit, the first culprit, and there's no second culprit. I don't know. Either Nanjo putting the stakes in place in the first culprit's place means either the first culprit is dead or is unable to reach the stakes. And lo and behold, that refers to everyone aside from Nanjo and Eva. But I don't think Eva's the same culprit because she had an alibi for the first killing. So that means, for the first killing, the only people who could have done it are the victims of that killing, one of the 4 cousins, or Nanjo. Problem is, I have no idea which one it would be, so that's all I know. I'm pretty sure he put the stakes in place for the 4th, 5th, and 6th Twilights to make it look like the 4th, 5th, and 6th Twilights. Because he probably knew that at this point, I think after the 2nd Twilight, whoever the culprit of the 1st Twilight is, knew that someone else was committing murders, and they knew exactly who it was. So when that group of 3, Rudolph, Kyrie, and Hideyoshi, left, they sent Nanjo to follow, and Eva was obviously following too, because she probably killed these 2, and one of those 2 probably killed Hideyoshi, or Eva killed Hideyoshi, or Hideyoshi killed Hideyoshi. Either way, it doesn't matter. Hideyoshi was there, and he died. Nanjo probably just followed, witnessed the murder, hid somewhere, and put the stakes there when Eva left. So that's what I think happened. And it just happened to be a coincidence that he was shot in the face, she was shot in the stomach, and he was something in the chest. So the culprit could be anybody aside from one of these 7, referring to the first Twilight. Either way, actually, I wonder what the original death sprites look like. Oh god. Oh god, they're all sorts of fucked. Oh god. Yeah, they are every single kind of fucked. Those wounds look even more gruesome, honestly. Ah! Kids, like, it's just red there, but in this you're just like... You look actually fucking charred. Okay, I'm gonna say that's something that this original sprite system has done better, is portray these deaths, because, oh my god. Either way, let's get back into this. Whew. Deep breathing. The guest house lobby was wrapped in silence. The strings of tension binding Kraus, Natsuhi, and Eva had already loosened, and they were completely worn out, with their minds beginning to waver. Every once in a while, they would stand up and walk around pointlessly, as though fighting their drowsiness. Are you okay, Eva? Please, do take it easy and rest. No, if you do that, you die. I told you I'm fine. The three of us are now the only adults. There's no time to rest. No matter what the cost, we must guard this place until the end. She spoke bravely, but she couldn't hide her rough breathing. It seemed that the fever, which had been calmed with medicine for a short time, had returned. It was very obvious that Eva's health was not good. Okay, if she's planning... If she is planning on killing Natsuhi and Kraus, which is likely, then why would she still be faking a sickness instead of just... Blam! Shoot Kraus, blam! Shoot Natsuhi, you win. Perhaps she wants to catch them by surprise, and in the afterlife they still don't know who killed them? I don't know. Take it easy. At least close your eyes. If something happens that you need to be awake for, we will definitely wake you. I'm telling you, I'm fine. Leave me alone. Natsuhi looks fucking ridiculously tired. It seems she was already unwilling to budge. Kraus and Natsuhi realized that even if they talked to her anymore when she was like this, it wouldn't reach her ears. So without saying anything more, they decided to let her be. To Eva right now, even having an argument like that would be burdensome. It would probably be better for her body if she just sat there with her mouth closed. In truth, Eva was just a step away from being beaten down by drowsiness. Perhaps she shot back at them with a temper because she was trying to rouse herself and throw off her sleepiness. The clock would be pointing at 6 o'clock in the afternoon very soon. That's not afternoon, that's evening. She'd had several snacks to distract herself from her drowsiness, so she didn't feel hungry. Several snacks? Did you take food from the cart? Is that... Didn't they run out of food, like, long ago? Or am I just remembering wrong? Ah, whatever. But now her lack of sleep made it feel like it was 6 in the morning, not the afternoon. Even supposing that the boat came at precisely 9 in the morning tomorrow, they still had more than 12 full hours to go. It was an overwhelmingly long stretch of time. Oh, hello. Long, painful, hot. Even the sound of the clock torments my body now. In times like this, when that person puts his hand on my forehead, the fever fades at once. But that person no longer exists. Oh, okay. As Eva's mind grew foggy, she was once again gripped by a deep sadness. She had already cried herself dry. Even so, the sadness of losing her beloved husband had not been exhausted. I was wrong. Hello. What do you mean? The new witch and Eva were fundamentally the same being. If Eva talked to her, she would always respond. I thought that if I could gain the position of the Ushiromiyas family head, that alone would be enough. But then, as soon as I saw that mountain of gold, my greed grew. I was struck by a desire to have that mountain all to myself. That's nothing to be ashamed of. After all, it's your natural right as the Ushiromiyas family head. How could you give up even a bit of it to anyone else? I was gripped by that temptation, which is why you were born. Well, you are a young girl version of me. At the same time, you are also my self-centered evil heart. Because of my foolish greed sprouted by that mountain of gold, the shell of the egg that is my heart cracked, and you were born into this world. I am responsible for your birth. In that case, when I killed Rosa and Maria, and then Rudolph, Kira, and Hideyoshi, you were responsible for that too. Why did you kill my husband too? Why? I can't scream. I didn't want to kill Hideyoshi. He was just so annoying and persistent. And that's your fault. It's your fault for choosing a husband like that. A child like you cannot understand what made that man so wonderful. Oh dear. What the heck? Our dreams were made real with magic, right? We solved the riddle of the epitaph. Then we found the gold and got the head's ring. All of our dreams came fully true, right? What more could you want? Those weren't all of my dreams. What about living a wonderful life with that person and giving George an excellent life? I still have many dreams that haven't come true, as a wife, as a mother, and yet... Those are just extra dreams you added after becoming an adult. They aren't my dreams. That's because you're a child. Do you only care about what's best for yourself? That's right. Everything is my fault. Back then, why did I resist doing what Rosa told me to do? Why couldn't I announce to all of the siblings that I found the gold? It's because I'm so hideous. My evil heart, which sprouted from my desire to have all that gold for myself, caused you to hatch. Looks like you really hate me, even though we're both Ushiromiya Eva. No, that isn't true anymore, and it was you who said it. I am Ushiromiyas Eva, and you're the Golden Witch Beatrice. So just disappear. Witches are imaginary, illusions that only exist in fairy tales. Things like you should just disappear. Never appear in front of me again. Yeah, you're right. I understand. I'll disappear from in front of you. And I am no longer Ushiromiyas Eva. From now on, I'm the Golden Witch Beatrice. So now I can play however I want. I don't even care about you. If only you just give up and die. But she's you? If Eva Beatrice died, would Eva die? Since they're like the same person, but like it's a younger version of Eva. But if regular Eva died, that one would still exist? I don't fucking know. After having a very childlike tantrum, the witch who had once been another Eva vanished. Only Eva was left behind in the darkness, and she questioned herself. Me? I killed them? Did I kill that person? Did I kill him? Oh, is she basically admitting that she's a culprit? She can no longer answer that question herself. Was my revelation about it being Eva really not impressive at all? It seemed that half asleep, she had gotten some saliva caught in her windpipe just as she was dozing off. Eva suddenly started coughing. Are you okay, Eva? Please, Natsuhi, some water. Yes. I'm fine, okay? I just choked a bit. Coughing is ridiculously difficult to do. For voice acting, I guess. Like, coughing in real life's easy, because I can just go but fitting it to a voice is ridiculously hard. Like, how am I supposed to cough in the Eva voice? Like, oh, excuse me, I have to cough. See, it doesn't work. Eva pushed away Natsuhi's hand as she tried to rub her back, and unsteadily rose to her feet. I'm going to go wash my face. Sorry, I fell asleep. When I get back, I'll make some more coffee. Extra strong, so that I won't get drowsy until tomorrow morning. Yes, please do. Your coffee's more to my taste than what Gota makes. I'm glad to hear it, even if it's flattery. I'll be back soon. And those two are so fucking dead. Eva exited the lobby, heading for the bathroom. Kraus and Natsuhi watched over her frail back. So you sometimes do show concern for Eva, even though you've always been so much at odds with her. Isn't this how an older brother is supposed to be? Yes, I believe you're right. It isn't just Eva. There's Rudolph and Rosa, too. Instead of acting like an older brother to them, all I ever did was speak arrogantly and bully them. In my own way, I was frantic in my desire to be like father. But I can never match up, and I always vented my feelings on them. But that is no excuse. I probably gave Eva scars so deep that they still have not healed. I regret it, but even if I apologized after all this time, it would do nothing to heal those wounds. If you can hold on to that feeling, instead of only letting it last for this moment, I'm sure your siblings will come to see it sooner or later. Though by now, Eva is the only sibling I have left. Kraus just doesn't have any sad faces, does he? Or angry faces either. If only you and your siblings hadn't been born into the Ushiromiyas family, we might have had a more normal, a more fun sibling relationship. You mustn't say that. Eva will probably continue to hate me her whole life, and she has a right to. I intend to resign myself to that fact and accept it. Dear Eva, I'm sorry. Of course, you don't have to forgive me. I'm assuming it's Eva Beatrice. Of course I won't forgive you. What are you talking about after all this time? Yeah, I'm a fucking god, aren't I? Oh, so now you're feeling guilty. If only you just give up and die right now. Do it, Chester sisters! And they're about to fucking destroy them. And there's that CG again. 45's the pink one, right? 45, firing permission received. Reconfirming firing arc. Correcting for weather discrepancies. Data link to 410. 410, data received. Firing permission confirmed. Firing! Together, the sisters released the magical bowstring they had readied. A beautiful tail trailed behind the gold arrow, and it drew a lovely curve as it flew. It was just like a gold snake. Deja vu, I think I've been in this place before. It skillfully avoided a grove of trees and flew towards the front door of the guest house. Then it flew into the keyhole of the door and snuck into the guest house without any problem at all. Christ, how small is this thing? The gold snake raced down the hall smoothly, yet as fast as an arrow. Right before it was the door to the lobby. Oh, right before it was the door to the lobby. When it flew into the keyhole, Kraus and Natsuki were already dead? What? For an instant, Kraus thought he saw a gold-colored sparkle in the keyhole on the door. However, at the same time as he strained his eyes to see what it was, that sparkle bent like a whip and attacked, wrapping itself around Kraus's neck. Ah, shit. Oh, God! Ow! Just looking at it, the gold snake seemed very supple. However, it was as though a wire had been tightened around Kraus's neck. And then Natsuki as well. And while that snake choked Kraus, it extended even more and also tightened around Natsuki's neck. God fucking damn it. Without even a chance to scream, their eyes bulged as they went into convulsions and then collapsed. 45, hit and kill confirmed. Formulating towing curve. Revising capture points. Data link to 410. 410, data received. Initiating corpse towing. We got both of them, yeah? The gold snake began to drag Kraus and Natsuki's bodies back. They slipped through the door to the corridor, dragging the bodies, gradually increasing in speed. And rapidly pulled them outside the guest house. So the lobby was silent, as though nothing had happened. As though Kraus and Natsuki had not been there since the beginning. Only the sound of the wind and the rain remained, as if they were playing dumb and pretending to be the only ones there. Sorry, I'm fine now. I'll go make some coffee. Wait. Eva returned from the bathroom, but no one was in the lobby. Even though they had supposedly been in that sofa until the moment she had choked and gone to the bathroom, they were gone as if they'd been an illusion from the very beginning. How careless of them. Where did those two go off to together? Eva put her hand on the sofa as though acting out a scene from a detective novel. You killed them, probably. She felt a warmth that meant they had been sitting there until a short while ago. Maybe they went to do the rounds or something. For the time being, Eva sat down and waited for their return. How would she not do something that doesn't implicate her? Like, at this point, she's the only person who could have committed those murders, right? Oh, are we going to Georgetown? Hello, Georgetown. Beato and George could be seen in the parlor of the mansion. George was kneeling near Shannon's body as though praying. His face was serious, and there was even sweat on his forehead. That's his cheek. However, Beato was the same. That's also her cheek. Now that she had handed her name over, most of her previous power had been lost. Of course, she still had more than enough power to be called a witch, but compared to the past, it was a very faint thing. Good. Don't talk to her. Don't touch her with your hand. Call to her with the voice of your heart, and seek her with the hand of your heart. Only your strong feelings can make my magic reach Shannon's lost soul. George kept praying earnestly and silently. He kept frantically yelling inside his heart, trying to call back the soul of the person he loved. He strongly envisioned his soul leaving his body, and searching for her as she wandered through the land of the dead. Beato turned that strong force into magical power that supplemented her own magic. This was magic that, in the past, she could have performed easily without anyone's help. But now, if she didn't rely on someone's assistance, she wouldn't be able to finish the chant, much less succeed. I'd forgotten for several centuries. Was resurrection always this difficult? Beato was wearing an even more strained expression than George. It had slipped her mind, but originally, the magic to revive a life was the ultimate hidden art. Except Beatrice learned it in a second and a half, so woo. The abnormal thing was her previous magical power, which could be used over and over with a snap of her fingers. So the heavy burden on her body and mind was fundamentally speaking, extremely natural. However, this man's power, even though he doesn't know magic, it's nothing to be laughed at. I see, so he truly is Kinzo's grandchild. The strong energy pouring from George was large enough to act as magical power. At first, Beato thought it must be the blood of Kinzo, the sorcerer. Oh, they do call male ones that know magic sorcerers. Okay, I thought they wouldn't, but whatever. However, that probably wasn't it. She had a feeling that Batwer had already told her what it was. It had been born from the power of George's sadness at the death of the person he loved, and from the way he had tried his hardest throughout his life. From the warm time spent together with Shannon, to the size of the dream they swore to protect in the future. Is it really possible for humans to take life so seriously, even though they only have a single one? It was only natural. To her, a life didn't mean anything more than the difference between the top and bottom of an Othello piece. If the black represented death, then she thought all you had to do was flip it over again and make it white. However, it was just like that broken vase. To humans in a world without magic, where they cannot return things to their original form, it is very, very natural for them to bet their life and soul. So, is an endless witch, who can do as she pleases, even with life and death, inferior to a limited human who can't even surpass the mountain of death? This time, the witch acknowledged it. He was able to hold a magical power that could never reside in witches who didn't understand the value of a life. Why does this thing called the Endless Magic exist? Even though I called myself the Endless Witch, did I forget what the Endless Magic means for 1,000 years? She looked at George's expression again. His surging earnestness was like a lightning bolt. Right now, even if George's body had been burned or smashed by a waterfall, he would probably continue to pray for his beloved without minding it, without noticing it. For the first time, she showed respect for that power. So in that instant, all magical resistance was lost, and the enormous power of George's feelings turned into a magical energy in its complete form. The fuck? The vase was very beautiful, rich with history and value. Oh, it's this shit again. Even as young as I was, it still forced me to take a deep breath when I witnessed its beauty. But that just made me want to touch it. But the vase easily fell and smashed into pieces, and apparently bled. Like a bubble that had popped, it felt as though the time it possessed the form had been just an illusion. Lives are just that fragile, just that easily lost. I realized that my foolish curiosity had led to something that couldn't be undone. No matter how much I regretted it, no matter how much I apologized, the smashed vase wouldn't return back to its original form. A lost life will not return to normal no matter what happens. I was frightened that, even though my actions had been thoughtless and careless, they had stolen away a life that could never be revived again. Then I pitied that lost life and cried. I was frightened of myself, the one responsible for its loss, and cried even more. I'm sure Grandfather will also cry at the loss of his precious vase. I'm sure that all the people who love Grandfather and see him like that will cry. With the loss of a single life, the whole world can be filled with so much sadness. I cried even more at how terrible that was. And, yep, Virgilia, okay, or Beatrice. Beatrice appeared and spoke. Then, milady, let us revive that vase with magic. If that will make everyone happy, the vase and the magic and the spirits. will happily lend you their power and return it to its original form. Come, lady, close your eyes and chant with me. So, just a short flashback. Come, try closing your eyes, and try to remember. What form did you have? It was surely a very, very beautiful form. Please, show me that form one more time. Huh. Those words of power knocked forcefully on the door to the land of the dead. The magic of her old self had performed that same forceful knock. However, doing it that way was horribly violent, and earned the displeasure of the peacefully sleeping dead. But this time was different. It was very forceful and yet gentle and loving. What is... Okay. The dead near the door opened their eyes and called out to the others that there was a voice calling for someone to come back. The sadness of that voice calling from the outside world touched the hearts of the dead, and trying to respond as quickly as possible, they searched for Shannon's lost soul. What is this? Just World of Light from Super Smash Bros. Everyone's a fucking orb with their face on it? And then they found it. They found the casket in which Shannon was peacefully sleeping. It truly was Shannon's soul sleeping in the land of the dead. Inside the casket that was covered with rose flowers, frozen with frost, she was sleeping in peace. The dead silently lifted that casket up. While at a glance it looked like a funeral march, it had the complete opposite meaning. It was solemn, but filled with joy. The long-forgotten dead were made to remember that they were loved after their deaths, and they were all given a warm sense of peace. Then, as though guided by a warm light from the heavens, Shannon's body floated up out of the casket. The dead watched her go. They squinted at that warm light, offering their respect to this unknown member of the living, who had not lost his love for a person even after their death. And she was revived through some fucking plot bullshit? Shannon's body was enveloped in the light from the heavens and began to disappear. In the jet-black darkness of the land of the dead, the faint flickering of gold butterflies could be seen. It reminded them of the gentle stars in the night sky which they had long forgotten. What? George remembered being told that he must not say anything, and he hurriedly covered his mouth. However, it felt like his heart was trying to jump into his throat, because he had seen Shannon's eyelids shake slightly. Then those eyelids slowly opened. Shannon's eyes were there, but they were still wrapped in the fog of the land of the dead. However, the human world's warmth, no, her lover's warmth, which had called back her soul, slowly dissolved that fog, and her eyes gradually regained their sparkle. Then her eyes moved and recognized George. Fucking hell, she is alive? Was she alive the whole time? Just like knocked out or something? George. As her lips shook weakly, Shannon definitely said that. The words were very faint, so much so that they normally wouldn't have reached his ears. However, George clearly heard them. He heard the person he cared for, his fiancée, the one he loved most and who should have been dead, call his name once again. Shannon. Shannon, do you know who I am? George, is this a dream? No, this isn't a dream. Come on, see here, even if I pinch you, you won't wake up. And then she dies. Ah! No, I killed her. As George said that, he softly pinched Shannon's cheek. It was how George had always responded in the past when Shannon had been surprised by something and had asked if she was dreaming. When Shannon felt the warm touch of George's finger on her cheek, and when George realized that the warmth of the living had already returned to his beloved person's cheek, they both cried. God damn it. What words should a pair of lovers separated by death celebrate with when they are reunited? The words of the human world are not enough. In short, they had no needs of the words of this world. George simply hugged Shannon, who was sitting up without talking. System? Yeah, but... Hold on. Beatrice did proclaim and read that Shannon's definitely toast, so... Yeah, she's not alive, and she wasn't brought back by magic, so... It's confusing why George would go to the parlor then, unless he's a necrophile. George simply hugged Shannon, who was sitting up without talking. Shannon's strength was still feeble, and putting her arms around George's back took all she had, so George hugged her tightly to make up for that. To stop each other from going once more to a place the other's hand couldn't reach, they hugged each other so tightly and yet so gently. As Shannon's fingers curled around George's back, on her ring finger, the engagement ring George had given her definitely shone. That strong glint certainly wasn't just the sparkle of diamond. There definitely was a magical power that only the two lovers could possibly feel. It was because that strong light existed that they had been able to find her casket in the land of the dead. Beato understood. That ring. No. The feelings of the pair, embodied in that ring, were a miracle made real. In that moment, George definitely used magic. Beato had done nothing more than help him along. That magic had a power that could only reside in those who knew of the importance of life, who knew what it meant to try with all one's might. It was the power of a miracle, one the Endless Witch couldn't possibly know of. A miracle that only... A miracle that only the power of the finite could give rise to. By now, she had no choice but to accept it. She had to accept that true magic, true magical power, exists in the place furthest away from she who called herself a great witch. Beatrice! She brought you back to life. Thank you, Beatrice. No, I did nothing. What revived Shannon was your magical power. It was your magic. The Ushiromiyas blood, which makes miracles come true, surely saw you through. George revived me? Indeed. It was an incredible display of magical power, one that I could not hope to compete with. So I am still nothing more than an apprentice. Now I finally know my place. And Shannon's just like, literally what? Beato staggered backwards. Her physical strength was clearly exhausted. She had humbly said that George's power alone had revived Shannon, but Beato had used all of her magical and physical strength. And she reflected upon how difficult it was to revive a single life, something she'd been able to play around with however she wanted to in the past. The couple kept on embracing each other tightly. By doing that, those feelings that couldn't be communicated with a billion words were shared. Thank you, Beatrice. We're in your debt. Thank you very much, Beatrice. I'll never forget the debt I owe you for bringing me to George again. Stop that, stop that. Being thanked by a pair of lovers is far too embarrassing for one who has been feared as a monster of a person. Don't worry about me. Celebrate your reunion together to the fullest. Beato, who was leaning with her back against the wall, slid down the wall and sat. How many centuries had it been since she last grew this tired from using magic? I probably haven't been this tired since the time I first succeeded in magic. Didn't teacher praise me that time? Oh, but didn't I kill that same teacher who praised me? Don't be so naive, Beatrice. Isn't that what killing means? Finally. It seems you finally remembered how to use magic. My head feels parched and suffocated, and I can't even remember. More importantly, didn't I kill you? You shouldn't be appearing. You are still allowing me to live even now. That is why I can appear like this. However, I did not come just to pet your head. Did you come to sneer at how pathetic I am? Anyway, if I have my head patted by a retired witch after all that's happened, the other witches will laugh at me. That's right. According to your bragging, you were not only a full adult, but a retired one. And yet only now have you learned how to use magic. That certainly does sound too embarrassing to tell anyone. Yeah, tell me about it. Keep it a secret, okay, teacher? Beato gazed at the couple hugging each other with a sense of pleasant despondency? I don't know how to read. Love, is it? I'm no match. Oh, fuck. Oh no, Beatrice found them, didn't she? Or George, I guess. 45. Data received. Firing preparations concluded. Ammo type selected and loaded. Ah, shit. 410. Firing. The gold snake arrow fired by the Chesters weaved its way through the bushes in the rose garden, weaved its way through the hedges, and climbed the stone steps towards the mansion's entrance, aiming for the keyhole. Deja vu. It weaved through the corridors and flew into the keyhole on the door to the parlor. Huh? It happened in an instant. One could hardly blame Beato, who was completely worn out, for not noticing it beforehand. Right before Beato's eyes, the gold snake flew in through the keyhole, surrounded the two lovers, and pierced the two hearts in a blink of an eye. Furthermore, the gold snake faithfully pierced a hole through Shannon's chest once more. In the same place, huh? In the exact same place, you tell me? Yeah, looks like she was shot in the heart, or stabbed in the heart, or something in the heart, and you're to blame. The two hearts were pierced by that gold snake. No, by that gold sewing thread of the new brutal witch's furniture. And it had happened in an instant, mocking the amount of effort it had taken to revive Shannon. All that shit for nothing? Why does the top right look like a person on a motorcycle holding a gun, that top right bloodstain? It's kinda weird. Before Beato's shocked eyes, the two fell over and landed on the floor. George? Shannon! Thank you, Beatrice, for letting us meet, even just for a short while. Thank you. George spent his last breath thanking Beato and died alongside the one he loved. The gold snake, which still sewed the two in place, spun like a large cyclone, revolving around the inside of the parlor. It was searching for further prey in that room. Then the tip of the snake met Beato's gaze. In that instant, Beato was prepared to die. Uh-oh. At that moment, Virgilia stood in front of her, the fingers of both her hands drawing a seal. Instantly, gold-colored gold leaf buried the inside of the parlor. It was like a blizzard of gold. Beato, run while you can. No one can escape from the Chester's golden bow. Oh, fuck. 410, target lost. Nah, it's magic stole chaff. 45, roger that. Modifying search algorithm. Switching to anti-personnel image-based tracking. Target lock reacquired. Data link to 410. 410, data received. Too slow, predecessor. Coming. Impact! That's not a bloodstain, at least. Prey targeted by the Chester sisters' golden bow did not escape. It could not be blocked. No magical barrier could even dream of blocking it without being multi-layered. The gap opened during that instant of confusion caused by Virgilia's deception magic was Beato's only chance to escape. And it was the only chance to make the sisters confuse Virgilia for Beato. As Virgilia spread her arms wide, blocking the way to her beloved disciple, the gold snake pierced straight through her heart. But Virgilia's already dead? After sneaking in through the keyhole, the snake shot through George, Shannon, and then Virgilia in an instant. Completely failing to notice Beato, she used that instant to escape. You see what I mean? It's a motorcycle with a person on it holding a large pistol. As soon as Virgilia saw that Beato had gotten away, she died. But she's already dead? The strength left her body, and like gold dust drifting with the wind, her form was erased. So she's double dead. Beato completely erased all traces of her magical power, became gold butterflies, and passed through the wall, escaping to the wind and rain outside. Damn it. Damn it, damn it! You bitch! You bitch! Beato felt regret from the bottom of her heart. Why? Because she had been attacked by the new witch? Probably not. Of course she hated losing her teacher. And even more importantly, Beato was enraged at the barbarism that had boorishly stolen away the reunion between two lovers. Beato had poured out almost all of her magical power to reunite them. Even though the result had been a miracle, the time it took to seal that away had been so ridiculously short. Beato trembled at the barbarous cruelty that had brought about such an abrupt end. Besides, this was the true form of the act she herself had committed up until that point. So is Virgilia just dead for good? Or will she come back again? So just as strongly as Beato hated the new witch, she also looked at her previous self with disgust. Is she going to slap the shit out of Eva, Beatrice? But now she had to escape. If she was targeted next, she would probably lose her life. To think that a chess player had descended... thinking they were like a god, only to be attacked by the pieces.
45. Impact confirmed. Target scattered. Without a doubt, we crushed the predecessor. Looks like our pile of kill medals is gonna get bigger again, yeah? What was that about loving couples? You get to enjoy tearing the two apart by death, reuniting them, and then tearing them apart again, right? And along with that, I get to say goodbye to that damn fussy old hag. Runaway, you don't have any complaints, right?
I do not, Beatrice.
That person interfered with the ceremony of the witch's epitaph, you see? She revived the sacrifice from the first fire without permission, obstructing my ceremony. She's got no right at all to complain. But it sucks that she didn't leave a corpse behind, and I thought I'd be able to torture that old hag to death over and over again endlessly.
Ronovay's just like, yeah, you fucking didn't actually do a damn thing. So now what? Are they gonna discover Kraus and Natsuhi? Are they gonna discover George? George did? No, I didn't see him. When did he come down? When, you say? What hour was that again?
I think it was probably around 4 or 5. At the very least, it was more than an hour ago.
There's only 4 people left, actually. But George should have been the last. Well, George was the last one then, I guess. We got sleepy and probably dozed off after that. So Battler survives to the last 4 yet again. But I think it's probably like Jessica's. Wait. Are there only 4? No, these 2 were supposed to be the last ones, yet George still died? I guess this is different because Eva's a culprit. And then there's a different culprit somewhere. Yeah, fucking who knows? We got sleepy and probably dozed off after that, but I think it's probably like Jessica says, about 1 or 2 hours ago. Oh, hi Nanjo. I also remember something from around that time. I was asked if I wanted more coffee. Something hard to believe had happened. Apparently when Aunt Eva left for a second to wash her hands, Uncle Kraus and Aunt Nazi had disappeared. There's no way they went hiding somewhere. Of course, the doors and windows had all been rigorously checked and were locked from the inside. Not one of them was broken. And that wasn't just true for the first floor, the second floor was the same. Again, all the doors and windows had locks built in a way that made it impossible to lock them from the outside. In other words, there was no way that Uncle Kraus and Aunt Nazi had gone outside, and yet they couldn't be found. Furthermore, they weren't the only ones who had disappeared. So had George, of all people. George had left saying he was going to get more coffee, and had gone downstairs more than an hour earlier. We'd assumed that he was having a conversation with Aunt Eva and the rest, but Aunt Eva, who had been in the lobby the whole time, said that no one had come down. Since all the doors and windows were locked from the inside, it was unthinkable that they had gone outside. However, 3 humans had evaporated from this barricaded guest house, which had become a perfect closed room. Many rooms, closed house even. In a situation like this, we couldn't imagine that this was because they were playing hide and seek and trying to scare us with a prank. It was probably reasonable to assume that they'd been caught up in this crime. When Aunt Eva had learned that her only son was missing, she had gone half insane, running from room to room and yelling his name. And Jessica, who had suddenly lost both of her parents, had chased after her. Cries of George, George, and Mom, Dad had continued to echo through the guest house for some time. I think George said something about wanting to see Shannon's dead face. It would be reasonable to assume that he snuck out of the guest house and went to the mansion. But I didn't have a clue about Uncle Kraus and Aunt Natsuhi. Did they see him leave and then go to the mansion to search for him? Without even telling Aunt Eva? At this rate, it's only a matter of time before he start planning to leave the guest house to go search for him. That actually makes sense. Eva went to the bathroom when George went downstairs. George ran out the door, Kraus and Natsuhi saw it happen, and they started following him. Boom. So that solves that. When that time comes, I'll agree. We thought staying holed up in the guest house would be safe, which was why our big happy group of 12 people locked themselves up here this morning. And yet, now there's only 4 of us left. That means staying here is no guarantee of safety. However, there's one thing we can't afford to forget. All the doors and windows were locked from the inside. This is a closed room. How did they manage to vanish from this place? Kraus had a master key, didn't he? He locked it from the outside. Herder. Just to keep them safe. We searched around thoroughly. However, we couldn't find any traces of someone hiding. The three of them had almost certainly been taken outside the guest house. I wonder how it was done. You don't think there might be something like a hidden door? A hidden door? The doors and the windows were built in a way that makes them impossible to lock from the outside. Even using a fish line, it would probably be impossible with the way they're constructed. So it may be reasonable to assume that they left via something other than a door or a window. Was that door to the, who's it fucks it in the guest house? You're right. That does make logical sense. No one can be sure that no hidden doors exist. However, before leaping to that conclusion, I suspect a much simpler possibility. And what would that be? For some time, Batware had been opening windows, opening shutters, and checking outside, repeating this for each window. This window's pretty quiet. I see, unlike the other windows, because of how the building's shaped, the wind doesn't blow into this one. Yeah, that's the window that George, quote-unquote, left through. It appears that way. It feels strange that no wind or rain comes in, even though there is so much of it outside. Dr. Nanjo, when I opened the window just now, did you hear a sound? Huh? No, I did not notice it. I believe it is well oiled. In other words, it's possible to swing through a window in the hallway when no one is looking. Furthermore, the wind doesn't blow in through this window, so the air pressure wouldn't cause the curtains or a door to make a sound. It'd be quiet. Okay. Quote-unquote much simpler solution. Batware leaned forward and looked at the ground below. He was searching for some sign that George had jumped down. But at a glance, he didn't see any mark like that on the grass in the middle of the pouring rain. There might also be a window like this on the first floor. It'd be possible to go outside without anyone noticing. However, not only the doors, but the windows too are all locked, and the shutters are even down as well, correct? It may be possible to go out through them, but you couldn't lock them afterwards. Sure, you can lock them, just like this. Click. Batware closed the window and locked it, as though this was perfectly obvious. Batware, you aren't saying... If someone inside locked it afterwards, this closed room is as easy as pie. That is true. But that means... Oh... Nanjo turned pale and shook his head several times, because the thing that Batware had said had forced him to face a fact that was frightening even to imagine. That's only if the trick I'm thinking of actually happened, okay? However, with this trick, only a very limited number of people can be suspected. He didn't want to say it in front of Nanjo, but after eliminating Jessica, who had been with him the whole time, only Nanjo and Eva could have done it. I did not do anything of the sort. Yes, I swear it. In this case, it becomes a battle between Aunt Eva and Dr. Nanjo for an alibi. We just have to suspect both of you, and confine the two of you separately. To say it the other way around, the more survivors there are, the more effective this trick might be. But since our numbers have shrunk so much, it isn't effective at all. No, on the contrary, there'd be a chance of having your own neck strangled by using it. Nice wording! It would have been much more advantageous to make it look like the culprit was outside, to intentionally leave a door unlocked or break a window. If this disappearance drama had taken place midday today, I'd be able to claim this theory with full confidence. However, at this stage, I'm not confident at all. What's going on here? What in the world does it mean? This closed room. You don't think, What is it, Dr. Nanjo? Even if it's just a thought, please say it. Nanjo looked like he was trying to swallow his words, even though he'd thought of something, so I urged him on. After Dr. Nanjo refused several times, saying that it was just a foolish idea, he finally said it out loud. Well, don't you think this might actually be the work of the witch? Ridiculous. There's no way witches exist. Oh really? Ushiromiyas battler? The witch is trying to make her case to us, specifically because she's doing things that humans cannot do. She must be trying to make us accept her as a witch. To me, this disappearance from the closed room of the entire guest house feels like that kind of message from the witch. Someone I must not think of. Surely it cannot mean anything. Oh, I am frightened. Was that him? Yeah, it was. As Dr. Nanjo shook with fear. It looked like he was trying to erase the fearsome thoughts that he kept imagining one after the other. When we went down the stairs, Aunt Eva and Jessica were enraged, and were each persistent in their desire to leave this place and search for their respective families. It was a desire that naturally hits those who can no longer see their family. Aunt Eva told Dr. Nanjo and me to stay here, but I shook my head and started walking. I've been shut up inside for a long time already. I've started wanting to breathe some outside air. Yeah, if we're going, let's go quickly. There's no way I'm gonna keep myself shut up in a place like this anymore. Let's go and find Mom, Dad, and George right now. The blood had all risen to Jessica's head. I hope it doesn't set off her asthma. If anyone wants to stay, go ahead and stay. We'll be searching outside. What about you, Dr. Nanjo? Will you watch the place by yourself? No. Allow me to join you. Rather than holding up alone in a guest house whose security was by no means guaranteed, it would be better to enter a danger zone as a group of 4 people. Aunt Eva had a gun. Moving separately from her was almost like asking to be made into the next victim. In this way, the 4 of us decided to leave the guest house. Even though it should have been safe to barricade ourselves here, we lost 8 people after doing so. It was almost as though this was a holding cell from which the sacrifices could be killed one after another. We removed the chain, unlocked the front door, and opened it. It was already pitch black. While there were some lights outside that dimly lit the pathway, they didn't have enough power to pierce the darkness that some suspicious person might be hiding in. I'm going. If you fall behind, you're on your own, okay? Still holding her gun, Aunt Eva dashed out without an umbrella. Jessica followed after her. After glancing at each other, Dr. Nanjo and I chased after them. Is Nanjo fast enough to keep up? What in the world is happening in this mansion, on this island? I've just been shut up in the guest house with the rest of the cousins since yesterday, so I don't know anything about what's going on outside. Just what is happening that I don't know about? Outside this room, in the mansion, on this island. Everything is happening, everything is proceeding, and everything is ending without my knowing it. Somewhere in my heart, I've already started giving up. Most likely, not one of us will see tomorrow morning. When the seagulls cry, nobody will be left alive. Shatter! Haha, I'm a god. That's a big clock. It's 6:02, I can't tell. Oh well. Hoo boy. Well, that's an episode, and not a half, but an episode. They probably just found their bodies. Okay, so that's going to be it for this episode. If you liked it, be sure to press the like button. And if you didn't like it, fuck you too. Remember to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all my videos and stuff. And as always, my name is Godzi, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye!